this episode of the podcast, I talk with Michael St. Michaels, the one and only Big Ronnie from the Greasy Strangler. This was a really super fun episode to record. I've been a fan of the Greasy Strangler forever now, and Michael St. Michaels is he's the best, and he lives up to all the expectations that I had out there for him before we talked and everything. So it was an absolute blast, and I can't wait to unleash this one on everybody. So yeah, this is a fun one. If you haven't seen the Greasy Strangler, you should definitely do it. And follow Michael St. Michaels on all his social media and all that stuff, which I will have linked in the show notes. So he's a awesome person, and I'm super happy I got to talk with him. So make sure you follow the podcast wherever you get your podcast from, Spotify, iTunes. I'm on everything. Follow, subscribe, tell your friends, help me spread the word and stuff, and that would be awesome. I hope you enjoy this one, and got to keep it greasy.
I'm sort of on an enforced one myself.
Good. All right, Michael, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
That's my pleasure, Brandon. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've been looking forward to talking to you all week. So,
well, we spoke for a second a few days ago.
Oh yeah, that was cool. I was at work when you called me too. I was like, oh shit, I'm getting a call from the Greasy Strangler. I got to answer this.
Yeah, well, I wish other people were as good about taking my calls as you are then.
Yeah, I try to be good with that stuff, especially like getting back on text messages or stuff like that. I try to get back to people in a timely manner,
Mm.
How's everything going your way?
Seems to be okay. I'm muddling through. I finally got the computer thing worked out, and the place hasn't recovered from it yet, but at least my computer works and this works now. And but it took them a whole week to fix it. And I was getting panicky. I mean, I missed a couple auditions, and I missed doctor's appointments, and don't ever deal with Western Telecom if you can avoid them.
Yeah, it sounds like Comcast for us. That's what we use. And man, like every other weekend, especially if I'm about to do a podcast, oh, the internet goes down. I'm like, motherfucker, man.
I know. I used to work for this cable company in Riverside that had a reputation of being the second worst cable company in America.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't fix anything, but they changed their name.
That sounds about right. That's the same thing that like Comcast did. They were called something else, and like, yeah, if you want spotty service, yeah, there you go. But I don't want to talk too much shit because they might, cut my internet off or something. So I got to be quiet with that.
Yeah, sorry, me too, actually.
Yeah, they could be listening.
Like, who isn't?
Yeah, right. I got my second COVID shot today, and you got people out there thinking that, oh, they're going to track you. I'm like, well, they're already tracking you. You got social media and phones and stuff. Like, don't be an idiot. They're already tracking you.
There's no such thing as privacy anymore, really. I mean,
no.
The government has everything wired so they can watch you and hear everything you do and say, and they do collect it. It's but there's so much of it, unless they actually go after you specifically, they'll find a treasure trove of information there, but they just collect everything.
Yep. I mean, if you talk about something, there's a Facebook ad for that, like in 10 minutes, 10 minutes after you got done talking about it, or, there's an Amazon ad or something, man. Like, yeah, you're constantly being tracked.
Yeah.
It is what it is. As long as you're not doing nothing stupid, I mean, you're fine. They're just trying to sell you shit.
Well, I gave up doing anything that makes me feel guilty years ago. That was about the time I figured crime only pays if you're a lawyer.
That's true. So I was doing a little bit of research on you because I always do that with my guests and stuff. And I saw that you got your start as a hairdresser. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was a hairdresser for years. I was starting to get bored with it.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to be a movie star, though. I know I used to do plays when I was a kid. That's the only thing that got me through English when I was in school,
Hmm.
were the points I made as a thespian. And but I got into being a hairdresser mainly for the sex. And, and I actually got really good. I was rated in the top 10% internationally
Wow.
before I started giving it up. I still do a little bit now and then, but not much.
Yeah. Did it take you to like different continents and all that stuff, or like were you?
Did for a while, yeah. It got me. I mean, I did. I got to do things like I did a haircut on a stewardess, and she upgraded me to first class. Uh, and I've done haircuts on sandbars in the Missouri River for beer. Uh, you know,
That's awesome.
you know, it's a great skill to have. You
It
know?
is. Yeah, and it's a skill that, is always needed because people always need haircuts.
Yeah, except me. I mean, I used to drive a roadster, and anytime something hit me in the eye, I just cut it off. That was my haircutting after I was no longer in the business. Because I can't see paying somebody as much as I was charging to get a haircut.
Right.
Mainly because I was a broke, overweight, starving actor, and with no connections in the Bay Area. Whereas I had connections in San Diego, and I wasn't there anymore.
Hmm. Did you ever do any celebrity hair or anything like that, or
Not really. I mean, they were semi-celebrities. I did Spiro Agnew's wife. I don't know if you remember him. He
heard
was,
of them?
yeah, he was Nixon's vice president, and then he
Hmm.
got caught with his fingers in the cookie jar, had to resign. I did his wife's hair. I did one of the Gabor sisters, and I did their mother. Uh, there were a couple other people thrown in there. And when I got into punk, I did some punk people.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I got it. I was into sailing, and then in a property settlement, I lost the boat, and then one of my clients convinced me that I should go in with her in a punk club in San Diego,
Hmm.
and I did, and it was great. I mean, it was way cheaper than sailing. Uh, I got to do it 3 or 4 days a week. Whereas
Hmm.
sailing, I'd be lucky to get out there for a couple days every month. And and I love the music. I love the scene. I like the people. Some of them are still speaking to me, even.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the punk scene, I was in the metal scene well, I'm still in the metal scene, but I was in a heavy metal band for about 17 years of my life. We
Uh,
just disbanded like 2 or 3 years ago. And
uh,
it's a wild scene, man. Like all the like touring and all that stuff. It's rough though. It's a lot of driving and loading out and shit. A little bit of playing.
yeah. No, I have a couple friends that are doing that. And then there's Philip H. Anselmo and the Illegals.
Hmm.
He used to be Pantera or part of Pantera. But yeah, I that got me back into heavy metal. I was into it a little bit for a while, but I don't know. And then new wave came up, and I got into punk. And when I was doing hair, everything was disco.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, it's kind of weird. Every time I hear disco music, I want to cut hair.
Who were some of your favorite like punk bands or metal bands?
I liked Fear. Uh, we did the Go Go's when they were still a garage band, and we had the B-52s the first time they toured the country.
Hmm.
Uh, Fear was my favorite, though, really. We had Para Ubu. God, the Naughty Sweeties, they were hot.
Hmm.
And the Zeros, who used to be called the fucking Mexicans.
Mm-hmm.
They had to give up that name. Uh, and DFX2, I really like them. The Puppies, I did a stage show with them once for a hair show.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they were really a fun band. They had an EP out called Fun Is Right, and they were the only American band signed by Stiff Records as Stiff was going under.
Mm-hmm.
Got to number one on the college chart, but nobody could buy their records because the record company was too broke to print any.
Right.
So I mean, they fell apart. Although they're all still musicians, except for the dead one. Uh, and he may be a musician too still, but
Yeah. You never know.
I'm not sure I've gotten that point in my life yet. I hope if it's true that you do that, I get to be an actor in either heaven or hell, wherever they send me. Purgatory.
Yeah, that'd be the worst, like purgatory, man. Like you're just sitting there in a waiting line with you got a number and stuff. You're just waiting on your number to be called. Like take 100 years to get where you need to go. Like going to heaven or hell or where the hell are you going?
Yeah, really. Yeah, and I'm a really lousy waiter. I was a decent busboy. Oh, and the busboys, I got to meet them. They were kind of fun too. Uh, Black Flag. They're
Oh,
either
Black Flag. Hell yeah.
either totally sucked or they were just so right on. There was no in between with them. Um,
Did you see them with Henry Rollins?
Pardon?
Did you get to see them with Henry Rollins?
Yeah.
When he was front, okay, because I know they had a few frontmen, so.
Yeah. No, this was the original, when they were all living in the garage studio in Santa Monica.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I even had the original artwork for Milton High Cal. I think I bought it for $40.
Wow.
Got stolen, but hey, that's punk.
Yeah, that's punk.
Yeah.
What are some of your like craziest like punk moments that you can remember?
I remember a fight breaking out. Somebody mistook somebody in the band for somebody they didn't like and went up in the van and punched him out. And there were people, there was about 250 people in a fight, the sort of thing you see in Western bar fights.
Mm-hmm.
It started in the club, got out into the street, went up the block, came back down the block, came back in the club, came out of the club again, went down to the other end of the street, turned the corner, and then the cops showed up.
Wow.
That was one. And the opening night where we had a really strict capacity and the fire, Dead Kennedys. Can't forget them.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were the place where Jello Biafra played his last show.
Wow.
And the Dills, their last show, they were in that Repo Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
Darby Crash, X. Anyway, but the opening night, there were just too many people. They couldn't control the door, so people were just pouring in. And I had the joy of being by the back door, and I was grabbing people and throwing them out the door. I inadvertently threw out two of the best, the hottest DJs in San Diego at the time. A couple of musicians. I mean, because I didn't know who any of these people were.
Right.
All I know is Laura Frazier talked me out of $500 and a bunch of labor patching the roof and the ceiling and all this other junk in the place.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Then we got closed down by the mafia.
Oh shit.
And we found another location, and then we got closed down by the cops.
uh,
We were doing fine, and then I got us some publicity, and the newscaster said it was a great place for kids to hang out. And San Diego has a thing where they hate everybody under 25.
mm-hmm.
And if you're under 25, they're not going to let you have any fun. And our club had no age limit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the only thing you could get there is water in the bathroom if you wanted it.
Wow.
We were pretty good at screening out the booze because we usually had a good basket of the stuff by the end of the night every night that we were open.
Did you have any encounters with like the Misfits or anything like that?
I don't know. The Plimsolls, we had them. I can't remember their name, but they were a band from Seattle, and they had a song called Trendy Violence that I really liked.
Hmm.
And then there was Non. They were horrible. There was this other band. I can't remember the name. The oldest person in this band was 14.
Oh wow.
And they lived on their family or somebody had an orange grove in Riverside, and they wanted to play, and they did some great music. We paid our opening act $25, and they found somebody to buy beer for them and sat in the back of their pickup truck, which is what they came down in, and drank it there when they went home. But I saw them in Decline of Western Civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And, Slash read the lyrics to one of their songs. That was can't remember any of it. Also, they shot part of Decline of Western Civilization at our club.
That's cool.
They had more control there, and I know they put my shoes in it. They wouldn't put me in it. I was wearing a suit. But by then we were getting raided so often that I decided wearing a suit was a good idea because that way I could get out the door with the money and it wouldn't disappear somewhere.
Right.
We could pay the bands because that was a problem a couple times.
Mm-hmm. How did how did you get into acting after all this stuff? Were you starting to do acting stuff back then, or?
I made my escape from San Diego. I ended up in the Bay Area. I got a PA job at Zoetrope on Return of the Black Stallion. And then somebody heard that I did that, and they invited me down to Fort Mason, and I did a Bertolt Brecht play called The Visions of Simone.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 different parts in it. And then somebody else called me up. They used to make parodies of straight movies for porn for the Pussycat Theaters in the 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And I started doing straight parts in those. That's where I got most of my camera experience. I did one called Bootsy, which is a takeoff on Tootsie.
Mm-hmm.
One called Matinee Idol. I'm not sure what that was a takeoff on. There were, there were a bunch of them, but I was cheaper than hiring the male porn actors, and plus I didn't have to take my clothes off or anything. Which, if I were younger, but I was 40 then, and if I was younger, I would have,
Yeah.
got the whole thing, I think. I don't know.
I bet it was a wild experience, though, right?
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was. I met some interesting people. Um, I still am in loose contact with a couple of them that I met through that. Uh, Most of the ones that I worked with are dead. They didn't seem to last very long. It was either drugs or car accidents,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things like that, or they got sick, and couldn't work anymore and disappeared.
Yeah.
Because that's when AIDS was first starting. Nobody knew anything about what was going on with that at the time. That was horrible.
Yeah, that was horrible stuff.
You'd see people that just, you could smell them a block away as their body was, turning into a giant pustule
Mm,
and oozing everywhere, and nobody knew anything.
right. Yeah, that was a bad time in life there. I'm happy they pretty much got a handle on most of that. So,
Yeah. I'm glad I was older by then because, I mean, I came of age after birth control, and I guess my sex life has drastically declined since the AIDS epidemic.
mhm.
but I got a few good years in there in the meantime.
How did doing that stuff lead up to like being in film and all that stuff?
Well, I was always trying to be in film.
Hmm.
Um, I did a thing called Popcorn Obstacles. I cannot remember the man's name who made that. It was a short Super 8 thing that took 3 months to shoot. It was only a 14-minute film.
Hmm.
Uh, I saw most of what I did in that. I never got to see the final cut or the screening because I had another job then. Uh, I found an agent. He got me a SAG card in a movie called Light Blast, starring Eric Estrada.
Mm.
And that's when I found out I couldn't use my name anymore and became Michael St. Michaels. Uh, and then I did the video Dead.
Hmm.
Uh, I heard about it and just charged in there. I didn't realize it already cast it, but whoever they cast, I blew them out of the water and got the part.
That's killer. I love the video, Dead man. That's good stuff.
And I mean, after that, not much happened. I did a lot of extra work for years and featured extras and second unit, third unit. I did some producing and directing. Uh, I was associate producer and first AD on a game show uh, called Desafia Academico. It was
Wow.
a bilingual thing for high school kids to get money for college. That was
Oh.
kind of good fun. I mean,
Hmm.
we gave out a lot of money. We sent a bunch of people to college in that one, and did some commercials, and we did a bunch of music videos for Balboa Records.
Hmm.
Uh, they're all Cumbria, and we won a couple of awards. And when the guy who owns Balboa Records found out that I didn't speak Spanish, he fired me.
Mm.
Uh, I worked on the ones that won the awards.
Oh.
But, no accounting for taste. I did some sitcom pilots that never aired,
Hmm.
uh, and I produced a sitcom pilot that never aired.
Mm.
And at that point I just said, that's it. I'm going back to acting. And I didn't really do much. I got stand-in jobs, and I was a photo double for Sean Connery for a while.
Oh, that's kind of killing.
Yeah, and I did a lot of second and third unit stuff for the X-Files. There's one episode where I'm every dead body in the show.
Oh shit, I didn't know that. That's cool. I love the X-Files.
Yeah, it was. Most of my career was spent being dead or getting killed. Uh, and I'd retired, and then a friend of mine, Dave Fine, was getting an award for Best Actor at a film festival, and he dragged me along with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I met Jason Bernanke and his wife, and they cast me in a thing called Another, or Mark of the Witch.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a couple other shorts since then, one called Making It. And then I read for An Evening with Beverly Lynn, a Jim Hoskins film.
Yeah.
And a couple of years after I read, I got a call from Katerina Frevik, who the one who did the short Making It, that they were looking for me. And I went back, and it was for the Greasy Strangler.
Wow.
And the casting directors on that one worked really hard with me, because I always audition for shit, pretty much.
Uh-huh.
There's been a couple times when I overpowered it, but most of the time I just cannot take it seriously enough, apparently. I don't know.
Yeah, the Greasy Stranglers, where I first took notice of you, man, because I love that movie. Like, your role as Big Ronnie is fucking legendary, man. So, like, and it's got such a cult following too for the Greasy Strangler. Like, the fans are super diehard. I'm one of those fans, and excellent movie.
I thank Jim Hoskins for making sure I was in that, because I mean it's really saved my ass. I mean, between Social Security and my pension from the Screen Actors Guild, I could live on it, 15 years ago when I retired,
Right.
but I can't anymore.
Yeah.
It's working. I'd be really in trouble. People still want me to work, apparently. Although last year I did the Once and Future Smash. I worked for a couple days on that. And that was the only job I had last year. But I was booked for 70-something days of work last year that, because of C-19, either got canceled or pushed.
Right.
I might be doing something in August or September, and another one I might be doing in September or October. You never know. I may never work again. I am going to Indianapolis to a convention, Days of the Dead, I think. I'm not positive.
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, on the 16th, 17th, and 18th. And I'm looking forward to that. I love meeting my fans. I just, I've had fans walk up to me in the street. Of course, that's not happening as much anymore, but it still does. Like, a couple of weeks ago, somebody did that.
Mm-hmm.
It surprised me, because it's been what, almost 5 years now since that thing came out.
And it's still going strong. That's the thing. Like, the cult following behind that is so strong. Like, I post a gift on Twitter, just a random like Greasy Strangler gift, or just a quote from Greasy Strangler, and like people just comment all over that. And like, yeah, it's a great movie. And people that don't know about it, I made sure I tell them about it. I got some work buddies that I let see some trailers to. I'm like, yeah, check this movie out, dude. And it's free right now on Internet Movie Database. If you have their app, it's streaming on there right now. So I throw that out. Yeah, and I've made new fans for that film. Like anybody I tell about it, usually like it. So
Yeah, but it got me everything I've done since then. Really, there's Fingers, which just came out.
yeah, I've seen that.
And then there's the Five Golden Rings. That's a short I did. That's won an award for Best Monster from the Severed Limbs Film Festival.
Cool.
and, uh, and I'm trying to submit it into the Best Actors Film Festival with my the happens with. I take acting classes with Sherry Carlson, and there's a YouTube thing called "It's a Bad Idea" that I work on occasionally. Well, every Monday night. But yeah, so please subscribe to that.
Yeah, if you're listening, subscribe to that. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Greasy Strangler says so. You got to do what the Greasy Strangler says, and that's just that's what you got to do.
And it got me. Phil Anselmo put me in Choosing Mental Illness. I played Nurse Ratched in that.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's on Housecore Records.
Yep, heard of that. Yeah.
And one of his other bands, Scar, sampled me. There's a couple of guys in Omaha who had me in one of their videos. They're called the Old Man Rap Syndicate. I do one called Bullshit Artist and another, I don't remember the name of the other one, but it's got this line, it's my duty to hit that booty or something like that.
That's awesome.
It is. And the shit that just, comes out. During the pandemic, I did a thing on Skype where I think it's Witches in the Sand, which is just about ready to come out. It's a British film. And I have like a really tiny scene in there, but I won't give it away other than that we did it on Skype. And then there's the 7 ways to obtain eternal bliss through the sacred or the teachings of the sacred Storch. I'm a cult member there. A homeless guy in a bathrobe, actually, preaching on a street corner on Sunset Boulevard. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy.
I love my work. I love to get to work. It just, it's so much fun. I played a really nasty guy in, I can't remember the name of it. It was a thesis film for a guy in Syracuse. Please forgive me. And I was really impressed because I may have been better known than some of the other actors there, but every other actor there I've seen constantly for years. And then I got to work with Will Wheaton on Smash Mouth 2.
Oh, cool.
He's been around forever and still working. Hate those New York theater people.
I just talked to him last weekend. He was on my podcast. I don't have the episode out yet, but we had a talk. He's awesome, man. He's a great guy.
Don't tell him I said that. I'm still trying to destroy his career. Now that I know he has one, it's going to be easier.
That sounds like a good plot for a movie there. Bill versus Michael. Take down their career. Gotta get that. We gotta get that in the works.
Well, it should be out. I think it'll be hitting festivals next year. I hope it makes it to Sundance. I want to go back there again.
Yeah, Sundance is cool, yeah.
It would be if you knew what was going on. I had no clue, other than, wow, they give you goodies here that are better than any of the goodies I got anywhere else. aside from maybe Chattanooga, uh, that's still my favorite film festival. It's Chattanooga, but I I got boots, phones, coats, people doing the dance while you're waiting in line to go to a restroom, and suddenly you got people doing the hootie tootie disco cutie dance.
That's awesome, there.
It is, because I mean, maybe 100 people had seen the film by then.
Mm-hmm.
Not than that, really, because it was a midnight screening
Mm-hmm.
the night before, and the thing just from the beginning has had this strange reaction on people. I didn't believe it until it actually came out in theaters in October,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because prior to that, it's like all film festival people, so it's all industry people, and I don't really trust industry people. As far as oh, that's great, that's wonderful, yeah, but when people are paying money to come in and see it and they're loving it, you got something done right.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I experienced that.
I bet the feeling was pretty surreal.
Yeah. And then I'm in one called Freshwater. I get eaten by a albino alligator in that one.
Hmm.
And then I did a day on Desolute
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't even know I was in, because I looked at the credits and I didn't make them. But somebody saw it and told me they saw me in it. So I found the scene, or they sent me the scene. I still haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to. Yeah.
With the Greasy Strangler, how long did it take you to get into your prosthetics?
It took about an hour and 45 minutes, something like that at first. First time was a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had some fittings, and we didn't really try anything on until we were on set, because they're afraid it was too fragile. Oh, what if he breaks it now? We don't get any shots. Okay, nah, don't put it on yet. And it took like, 2.5 people, and me being the other half person, to get me into it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you were trapped in there. There's no way to go to the bathroom, or uh, eating was problematic. And it was really, it was like you would get frostbite with the stuff they used on that stuff. I mean, it just chilled you to the bone.
Hey.
This stuff called Ultra Ice
Uh-huh.
that they used, and I'd go home and it would take maybe an hour or so just soaking my head in the bathtub to get the crap out of my hair.
Mm.
And then I still had to learn the lines for the next day and get out there. It was one of the hardest jobs I've ever had.
Yeah, it sounds pretty greasy.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if I'm physically capable of doing that again, but I sure would like to try.
Have you heard
I
any talks of a sequel, possibly?
I doubt it now. I'd like to see it as a musical.
Oh, that would be cool.
Uh, and I don't know I don't know what Jim Hoskins is doing, because he got shut down also, but he had me in 3 different episodes of Tropical Cocktails, which we shot in the Dominican Republic. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to do Fern on Clarence. Fern is Clarence's father on the Cartoon Network.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I used to watch Clarence when it came on. I don't think it's on anymore. I was like, oh, this reminds me of like the cartoons back in the 90s I used to watch, man. You know,
Yeah.
solid.
And I did a couple other things. Last voiceover, I did the thing BFF Girls. I did some work on that as voice work.
Hmm.
And I do shrimp vocals in an episode of Tropical Cocktails.
Hmm. That sounds like a new type of genre you can create. You know, you could be shrimp vocalist in a band, shrimp band.
Yeah. Well, put the band back together again and get me in there.
Yeah, hell yeah. I do all the guitar work and all. You just do the shrimp vocals. You got yourself a deal.
No problem. I
I've
can
been
read
met.
music.
What's that?
I said I can read charts.
What were some of your like favorite films growing up?
Across the Universe, Yellow Submarine, uh, Enchanted April, Baghdad Cafe. That was a grabber. Um, Nothing you've ever heard of, probably.
Yeah, so far I'm batting zero on that. Yeah.
Brazil,
Oh, I've heard of Brazil. Yeah, Brazil's cool.
you know, Dementia 13.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, that actually started the slasher movement. It was a Coppola film,
Mm-hmm.
and that he made for Roger Corman. And I saw, let's see, Blind. I like that one. I say bullshit in that one. and Sarah French is an amazing actress. And so is Caroline, whose name I can't remember, who was also played the lead's best friend. She's an amazing actress too. She was in a strange movie called Dick Shark.
Oh, Dick Shark. Yeah, I know the guy that did Dick Shark. Got a funny story about that. Friend of mine who's in a heavy metal club that I'm in. He bought all these DVDs. His name's Ben, by the way, and he listens to his podcast, so he liked this story. But he bought a whole bunch of Dick Shark DVDs and a bunch of other stuff from Beelzebub, and he was
Ah,
trying to sell them in the parking lot in New York. We're at this like giant like kind of metal festival we do every year.
yeah.
It was hilarious, and he ended up giving the whole damn box of like Dick Shark movies away to another member of ours named Pito, who took those and was like selling those with like a giant bag of popcorn he took. It was fucking crazy. So you got a fellow walking around selling Dick Shark movies. And
I
Beelzebub's really cool, so
yeah. No, I think that was Joe Bossonero or something like that. It was one of his films, maybe. I'm in a film with him and uh, Phil and Kate. Uh, that's pretty bizarre. I know we were in South Carolina and they just had us come in and do some improv.
hmm.
And so we ended up with 2 scenes in a movie that he was making. He makes strange movies. This is A Search for God's Bomb or something like that.
Huh. Yeah, that's in my neck of the woods there.
Yeah.
Were
And
you what were you about to say? I'm sorry. I mean, interrupt.
I was just rambling, but ask something.
Is there anything you're watching now that's like caught your eye movie wise or TV wise?
Well, I really got into Star Trek Universe,
Hmm.
and they replaced it with Clarice, which is a really good show, but I'm not. I'm a science fiction person,
Right.
and I just have this thing for Star Trek movies, and I can't get it because it's on some streaming service, and I can't I can't get him to believe that I'm me, so I can't subscribe to it.
Oh,
Uh, I have serious technical problems with anything technical and bureaucracies. I don't work well with bureaucracies.
yeah. There's so many fucking streaming services. It's insane, man. There's like 50 of them out there now. Like, trying to get away from cable, but then you have like all these other subscriptions that you have, and it ends up being just as much as damn cable. It's like, this doesn't make sense. And I do have a shit ton of streaming service because I like to watch movies, and I gotta have, if I want to watch this one, I'm gonna subscribe to this one.
Yeah. I watch I watch a lot of PBS. I've and I'm really interested in the environment and the lack of it. And
Right.
we're running out of water and air and uh, food.
And this crazy heat where there's not supposed to be crazy heat like in Portland.
Yeah,
That's crazy. That's just not natural.
it's not crazy. It's something that has been predicted for years. I mean, I first became aware of this sort of shit in the 60s when I was a dirty hippie. And that now people are speaking about it. They wouldn't. It was never mentioned before. You couldn't find anything on his stuff. And I credit Greta Thunberg for a lot of that.
hmm
It's we need more people like her, but we need people like her that actually can do something.
Yeah, somebody with some power. Yeah, definitely.
The powers that be are all old farts. They'll be dead, and I guess they don't really care about their kids or grandkids.
Yeah, they'll be long gone. We need some like young voices in there, like in powerful roles. That's something we're lacking. I think that would help out a bunch with all this crazy climate stuff and polluting and everything.
Mm. I was like Philip's house. The last flood that hit there was in a foot and a half of their house.
hmm
Uh, and it was completely wiped out by Katrina when that hit.
Right.
Uh, and it's not getting better. We're losing the ice shelf in Greenland. We're losing it in Antarctica.
hmm
Ice is almost non-existent in the late summer. The Northwest Passage is now viable.
hmm
I saw a thing on a guy who went through in a fiberglass sailboat. He said
Wow.
Northwest Passage.
That's crazy as hell there.
It is. I mean, even now, that's crazy.
hmm
Those boats weren't built for that crap.
I don't know if you saw on the news, but there was a pipe explosion, I think, in Mexico, and actually out in the water and stuff, and the water is on fire, and there's like a video of these boats trying to put that out with something. It looks like some shit like Cthulhu's coming up or something.
No, it's the Gulf of Mexico, and it was a gas pipeline,
hmm
or like the BP oil rig that went off. Took them months to fix that, and then never cleaned it up.
hmm
Got the Japanese dumping all that radioactive water into the Pacific again, because they have no place else to put it. We still haven't cleaned up 3 Mile Island.
Nope.
Uh,
I don't know what kind of radioactive mutants we got out there we don't know about. It's got to be something.
when I was a kid, we went to Vegas once, big trip,
hmm
and we sat in these bleachers just outside of town. They blew up an atom bomb. We all got sandblasted. Went back to the hotel. The windows were all smashed.
Wow.
And it was kind of, weird. Then I saw another one from here in LA when I was a kid.
hmm
That, like a sunrise before sunrise.
Ugh. I bet that's a hell of a feeling, right? That's like end of the world type feeling, I would say.
Maybe,
Yeah.
end of the world is when you climb up that mountain behind Area 51 and they're testing some electromagnetic thing that makes all your hair stand on end.
Oh, have you done that? That sounds
Yeah.
like you have. Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh, it was fun. There's a place called the Little Ailey in there. Great steaks.
uh,
It was in the middle of this open range cattle thing,
hmm.
which you can't go on anymore. Well, you supposedly could. Legally, you can, but
Hmm.
you can be shot or imprisoned if you do.
Right. Yeah, they're really strict on all that stuff over there. Did you get to see anything unusual besides the hair raising experience? Like
That
anything
was enough.
else?
It was this thing we snapped a picture, and whatever this ball was, it crossed frame 5 times in one shot.
Whoa.
I mean, it went from the right to the left and then back. It was out of frame and back in frame and back out of frame. And yeah, then
Yeah,
we had
that's.
to hide because helicopters were hovering again.
Hmm.
Uh, we snuck down later, and actually, it was like a 3-day trip because you can't be out there unless you're camouflaged and getting lucky because they will find you.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they're still strict on that. They tried to do some kind of thing a couple of years ago. It might have been last year. No, it was before COVID when we tried to storm Area 51. You heard about all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I was thinking of going, but I didn't. I loved seeing SpaceX when the guy won that prize, Burt Rutan, who designed this spacecraft.
Hmm.
He makes all his money designing and building drones for the military. But Richard Branson is taking his bigger version of the thing up next month or this month or something. He's going to go
Hmm.
up space in it. But that was really cool because I saw this first space shuttle land, and you couldn't get anywhere near this. But with the SpaceX thing, you could stick your head inside it, take pictures.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I don't know. I was really excited. I just wish I was a millionaire so I could blow part of it on going.
Yeah, yeah. I think right now it's a billionaire race of who's going to get up in space first, and think like all of them are after each other. Like, oh, I'm going up there first. I'm going there. I'm going this way,
Uh,
which is
I,
cool, I guess.
it is and it isn't. I mean, how much hydrocarbons do you burn getting one of those rockets off the planet? And what does it do to the upper atmosphere?
Right, a shit ton of damage most likely. And also it adds more junk to the atmosphere up there. There's so much like junk spinning around the earth right now that people don't really know about. Like one little piece of
Uh,
that shit, if it falls down to earth, falls down with our gravity and stuff, fucking kill you instantly.
well, maybe, but it's there's still not enough up there to really worry about it that much. The trouble is it can run into other things,
Hmm.
and it's getting crowded out there. They got to figure out a way to. I mean, mankind has a habit of turning everything it touches into shit.
Yeah.
Look what we've done to the oceans.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh,
Oceans are
man,
fucked.
we poisoned our water. We poisoned our air, and we're not doing anything to make it better. I know they got rid of the lead in gasoline and replaced it with aluminum, which is just as harmful.
Hmm.
You can't see it. So that was a big improvement. And would you
Really?
believe that when automobiles first started hitting the road, they
Hmm.
thought it was the greatest anti-pollution thing that ever happened on the planet
Wow.
because it got rid of all the horse shit in the cities. which is responsible for, typhoid epidemics and things like that. But,
Right.
suddenly, hey, you can walk down the street and not step in horse shit all the time.
Technology.
Yeah.
I know they're planning on going to electric here pretty soon. They said in the next like 10 years they're trying to switch everything to electric. So that's cool, you know. There's still going to
Yeah.
be like, you know, bad things from that as well. Nothing's ever going to be perfect, but I think that's a step in the right direction. I think anyways, you know.
Well, if they can figure out a battery that doesn't use lithium ions, or that would be a big help because just mining this stuff is incredibly toxic. It's
Right.
like mining uranium,
Mm-hmm.
kills everything around it. Uh, Somebody's going to start doing it with aluminum, which would be better. But we're still producing most of this electricity with natural gas and coal.
Yep.
They've got this pellet thing, they said, which is really taking the forest down and burning that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an answer. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, definitely not.
I read a thing the other day that said hemp takes out more carbon than a tree, just a single hemp plant.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk about planting all these trees, but it's like those trees have to be 40 years old before they start really kicking in to do something.
Right.
Uh, in fact, the first few years, they actually are polluting.
Yeah, and hemp grows super fast, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a weed. It grows anywhere and everywhere. When I
Yep.
looked at South Dakota, there was hemp growing through the cracks at the city hall.
Wow.
I know I tried to smoke it. It didn't work.
It makes you do paper with hemp, all kinds of shit can get made with hemp. Like supposedly you can make it super strong and was like steel if you want to make stuff with that. Like has so many different like things you can do, you know, with it.
Yeah. No, Henry Ford built a car completely out of it.
Hmm.
The engine, everything was all hemp, and the fuel was hemp.
Huh.
Uh, he did that in the 30s,
Mm-hmm.
but that didn't stand a chance because, hemp is close to marijuana and can't have that.
Yeah, you can't have all natural like something that comes from the earth is bad, you know. I mean, at least they're loosening up on certain states, but I think everything should it all should be like, you know, not illegal. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Maybe the aliens would take care of all that, right?
And the stories I've heard, excuse me, I have to sneeze. It goes away. It's going to be like if they do show up, it's going to be like we're the Aztecs and the Mayans, and they're the Spaniards. And
Mm-hmm.
that was not a good outcome.
No.
Excuse me. It's dusty here because I live in LA.
Oh, it's dusty here too in South Carolina. And also me and my wife have cats and they don't help any.
Oh.
And we both have super long hair plus the cat, so like constant vacuuming. If you don't, like, yeah, you're gonna be sneezing your ass off.
Yeah, I got one of those little floor backs. It scoops up all the hair, and it's all mine. I'm shedding.
You have one of those like industrial ones for people with long hair.
No, it's just a regular one, and I have to untangle the brushes every once in a while. Yeah, uh, overly rolled up with hair.
Yeah, one strand of my hair is like almost down to my knees now, and my wife's about the same length. So yeah, I've been growing my hair out for about shit 8 or 9 years now.
Mine
So
gets about as long as you see it,
yeah,
and that's about it. It just doesn't grow much longer.
Mine
Uh,
keeps on growing, man. Like, I guess that's a good thing. I just turned 36 too, so I want to keep my hair for, forever, really. I don't want to lose it, but so I'm going strong. So,
yeah. Well, I'm losing mine. I don't know, but I'm 77. I'm surprised. I mean, I have a brother who's 12 years younger than me, and he's bald. My father was bald. Uh, my son is going bald.
hmm,
Uh,
you're lucky then. You're super lucky, I think. I
yeah,
mean, bald's cool too, but I like having long hair.
it's a hassle, but it's easier.
Yeah, it is. Once you get used to it, once it gets to a certain length, it's not bad to maintain. Just throw and hide it somewhere if you're like using sharp utensils or something like that, for you don't, get it tangled up in anything. You're good to go. Yeah, I had an incident where I had my hair get caught in a weed eater. It was actually the where the engine's at. Like there's some pieces that move around in there, and my hair got caught in there for a second, and it freaked the fuck out of me. I thought, oh shit, I'm gonna have to cut my hair out of here. Luckily, just pulled it out. Everything was good to go, and my heart stopped beating a little bit. I'm like, all right, we're cool. I mean, yeah, you can grow it back, but man, you don't want to lose it like that. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's painful.
Hmm.
I hate pain.
Yeah, I'm not down with pain. So, I think you already mentioned most of your upcoming stuff. Is there any more like projects that you want to mention, or anything else that you're doing that is coming out soon? Or
Well, the ones in, Smash Mouth 2, that's the next one coming out.
hmm,
I'm supposed to do a thing in Vegas called Third Floor. I don't know the name of the one I'm doing after that, if I am, but you know, uh, I just hope I get more work.
I'm
Uh,
sure you will, especially since everything's opening back up now. I'm sure you will. And people are smart. They know to, hire you. So, and I'll keep on spreading the good word about you, through all my social media outlets. And this podcast getting a little bit of steam behind it. So, hopefully get some good listeners on here, once I start spreading that around and takes a little bit of notice, you never know who's listening, you know.
yeah, that's true.
Hmm.
You never know who likes it. I know Phil was amazing. I mean, he came up to me, grabbed me, swung me around, and said, "Dude, you're the best actor in the world." And I'm thinking, "Who the fuck are you? And would you put me down, please?" And, uh,
Yeah, Phil's a big horror guy, horror and metal. That's his thing. Like I've known
yeah,
that forever. I used to listen to Pantera back in the day, and
uh-huh.
I knew Phil was in them horror movies and stuff just because certain lyrics and all that stuff. And yeah, he's big time into that. He does his horror fest where he was doing it like you're saying with the house core stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I really that was one of the high points. I really enjoy him and Kate, and they're wonderful people to know.
That's cool. Yeah, he's been in the business a long time, man. He's been doing music forever. So
Yeah, I used to do music. When I was in the army, I played in a band. We made beer money. Germany.
Mhm. Would you play
I was a singer.
singer? Yeah, I sing, if you want to call it that. When I was in the band, I played guitar and did vocals, but there wasn't no singing there. It was all screaming and shit. So I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
did
all
that
this.
too.
You
For a
did that
while.
too?
Well, yeah. I mean, I took lessons, but I have 3.5 octaves, and when I was younger, I had enough power to be able to be loud enough to out scream a Marshall amp.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty good with keeping up with the amps and stuff with the vocals. I can get pretty loud on my high end screams. Like I do like these, if you're,
Uh,
it's like some black metal high end, like screeching, like, I don't know, sounds like a fucking, I don't know, crazy witch maybe. I don't know, demon. But yeah, those are my, like, kind of my trademark vocals whenever I was doing the band. So it'd just be like the high stuff. I like doing the highs, like, sound as demonic as you can. That was my whole thing. Like, try to sound as unhuman as possible.
Very good.
I'll send you a link over if you want to check some of my stuff out. So up on Bandcamp and YouTube and shit. Hell yeah, I'll send you a message over and stuff.
Thank you.
Well, Michael, I appreciate you being on my podcast, man.
Hey, I appreciate you having me.
This was a great time.
It's nice to talk to somebody that isn't trying to sell me death insurance. What's death insurance? I know I'm going to die. I'm not going to pay somebody to insure it.
Right, that's it.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's great, man. I really enjoyed talking to you, man. We kept it nice and greasy, so it worked out really well.
Anyway, you stay greasy. And can I do a promo for you?
Sure, go. Yeah.
What's the name of your podcast?
It's the Horror Wolf 666 podcast.
Big Ronnie says you need to watch the Horror Wolf 666 podcast, or you're making a big mistake.
That's awesome. Hell yeah, I'm gonna have that on for your episode there. That's gonna be that's gonna be the intro, so.
All right.
Hell yeah. Well, Michael, you have a great rest of your weekend and stuff, and I'll stay in touch with you and everything on Facebook and stuff, and I'll send you some music your way.
Thank you, Brandon. You've been good at not getting caught.
Take care, Michael.
Stay greasy.